Hey, what's up, seventh graders? Mr. Collison here on Wednesday evening. Just going to put together a little video for you guys for tomorrow. We're going to take a look at some very basic plant notes. I hope you guys were able to get outside and enjoy the beautiful day today. It was absolutely glorious. We spent a very large amount of time outside, and I hope you guys were able to do that too. So here's what we're going to do. So I hope you watched the videos today. We had 3 videos about 3 very, very unique different plants, and you guys had a paragraph that you needed to write for me. Make sure you guys get that turned in. I'm not asking for much, 4 or 5 sentences. That's it. It's all in the description. Make sure you guys look for that. On a quick side note, I am still missing quite a bit of work from a lot of people. So you guys got to make sure that you are turning those assignments back into us. If you have questions on whether you have missed something, go into PowerSchool. I've got it updated as much as I possibly can. I actually just sat down right before this video and plugged in everything else that I have. So if you are missing something, it will show up there, and make sure you guys get that to me as soon as you can so I can get you guys some points. Okay, so we're going to start with some basic plant notes. So you guys are going to need a couple things. Number one, make sure you got a pencil. Make sure you got a piece of notebook paper. Your graphic organizer doesn't have to look like mine, but because we are going to be comparing 2 very different groups, I am again going to be using the top hat model, which you guys have all seen before. So you can certainly make that as well. Forget, guys, this is what it looks like right here. So you'll notice up at the top, I got plants. The 2 columns up on the top side are going to be our differences between them, and then on the bottom is going to be the similarities. Before we get started with these notes, just quick disclaimer, I'm not a big guy about plants. I really don't find them super fascinating, and I know it's going to be kind of hard for some of you guys to track through this, but do the best that you can. We'll try to hit on a few really, really awesome things. My hope was that we could bust through plants within the first week and a half of that unit, and then we're going to spend a fair amount of time on balancing equations, because we've got to learn how to do that in order to understand photosynthesis. So without wasting any more time, here we go. I got a few things that I have come up with that I want you guys to be able to get down. So what you're going to see here, guys, is that there are 2 main groups of plants. We have the vascular plants, we have the non-vascular plants. So on your graphic organizer or on your note sheet, however you're going to be doing this, make sure you have those 2 different categories, because you're going to see here that we've got the differences, and we'll get to the similarities in just a bit. So here we go, guys. Let's start with the vascular group. The first thing we have to understand about vascular plants is that they are plants that have tubes. And in particular, the names of these tubes are xylem and phloem. Now, these are the tubes that are going to help these plants move things up and down the plant itself. You'll see I've got a little arrow underneath both of them, xylem. That's because that's bringing stuff up from the roots to the top of the tree, and then the phloem are bringing the food and stuff back down to the roots so the plant can use it. So the old saying goes, you xylem up, you phloem down. That might be a way for you guys to actually remember those. So that's the 2 types of tubes that this group of plants has. Our next point is that these are plants that grow very large. So if you watch the video for Wednesday, you watched a video on the giant sequoia, and that is the largest living plant that we know of. Some of them are pushing 400 feet in size, so they are massive. These things grow extraordinarily huge. Our third one, this group of plants, the vascular plants, are going to have roots that help to anchor and also absorb nutrients and other materials for them. Those are always going to be found underground. Very, very, very important structure for these organisms, because that not only holds them in place, but it's helping to get the things they need in order to undergo the process of photosynthesis. The last thing I have here on that column for the examples is you can look at some of the different types of vascular plants: grasses, flowers, trees. All of those fit into that category. So that's the first group of plants that we are going to be talking about. That's the vascular plants. Let's go to the other side. Let's take a look at the next group, and they are going to be the non-vascular plants, okay? These are plants that do not have tubes. So these do not have that xylem and phloem. So that's not how things are moving through these things. Consequently, because they don't have very many, any tubes, they don't grow very big. Most of them are going to be under 8 inches in size, which is really not that big at all when you think about it. These actually do not have roots. So what's actually holding them in the ground is a root-like structure. I know it's kind of weird, but they don't do the same things that roots do as far as absorbing the nutrients and the other materials that this plant is going to need. And then the examples that you can see here, guys, I've got the moss, the liverwort, and the hornworts. All of those are going to be the non-vascular. So I'm going to very quickly just put this up here. If you guys need to jot any of that stuff down, you can take a screenshot or go back into this video at any time, and you can pause it and do whatever you got to do. But that's going to be the differences. Let's talk a little bit about the similarities then. What are some things that these organisms are going to have in common? Well, guys, number one's kind of a duh thing. They're living. So they are living organisms just like all the animals that we have studied. And that's going to be the first similarity. The second one is that most of them are going to make their own food. There are some exceptions. There are 3 different types of plants that actually do not make their own food through photosynthesis. We will get to some of those next week and talk a little bit about them. You saw one on the videos for Wednesday, and that was the Venus flytrap, but there are 2 other ones that have the same thing. And then the final one, guys, right down here, most of them are going to have a very simple type of stem and leaves to them. And the leaves are really important for all the plants that are undergoing photosynthesis, because that's where this happens. And then the stems obviously are going to be a support system for those plants. So just a quick rundown. I'm going to peek over the top here. There we go. Some of the differences of our vascular and non-vascular plants, some of the similarities, and you guys can make sure that you get all those notes off the video here. Make sure that you guys fill out your organizers, take your notes however you need to, but make sure that you guys have that someplace that you can use, all right? All right, we're going to continue with plants tomorrow, Friday, into next week. We're going to talk more about angiosperms and gymnosperms. We're going to talk about monocot and dicot plants for the first couple of days of next week. But my hope is that by the end of the week, we're going to be rolling into balancing chemical equations. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Miss seeing you guys, but we'll try to catch up again on another Zoom call in the future. Take care.